Welcome back to our breaking news coverage of California versus Kellen Winslow II. The jury is deliberating right now. They're actually out to lunch, but they deliberated for 9 hours and 10 minutes plus, and that's been over the span of 3 days. Now, folks, if you haven't been following this trial, it's time to get on board because this is getting to be a nail-biter. That's right. Kellen Winslow II, I'm sure you've heard of him. He is an NFL star, and he comes from a famed lineage. His father, Kellen Winslow Sr., was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, a longtime player for the San Diego Chargers. Now, Kellen Winslow II, the son, he's 35 years old. He is facing accusations of rape and sexual misconduct from not one, not two, but 5 accusers. There are 5 accusers in this case, and he could face life in prison if he is convicted. That is right. Now, like I said, this jury's been deliberating for 3 days now. They are out to lunch, but when they get back, which should be in about an hour and 10 minutes, there's going to be readback in the courtroom. In the courtroom, the stenographer, maybe you also call her, him, a court reporter. This person will get in, they'll take the transcript, and they will read question, answer, and I'm telling you, it gets so exciting because we are trying to figure out what is the jury looking for? What do they want to hear? Now, as this verdict, it could come in any minute, so you have to stay tuned, keep it right here. And while we are anxiously awaiting for the verdict, awaiting for the readback, we are going to keep bringing you all of the significant testimony, all of the moments from this trial, okay? But right now, let's bring in our friend and a criminal defense attorney, Brian Claypool, who is live at the courthouse. Brian, big news. Readback from Jane Doe number 4.
Yeah, hi, Seema. Great to be back with you. That tells us a couple of things, and it also doesn't tell us a couple of things. What it does tell us is that it's likely that the jury has probably reached a verdict on Jane Doe 1, 2, and 3, and now they're working on Jane Doe 4. So that, to me, means there is progress. That's good. It also tells us that the jury is being very careful, copious, deliberate, and considerate in determining whether there's an acquittal or conviction on Jane Doe 4. Now, what it doesn't tell us, this is very important for your viewers, we don't know whether one juror asked for the readback or whether several jurors asked for the readback of Jane Doe 4 or the entire jury panel asked for the readback of Jane Doe 4. I know when I did Dalia Dippolito's first retrial, we had a readback. We all thought that the entire jury had asked for the readback. After the trial was over, we talked to a couple jurors. There was only one juror that had asked for that readback. So that's important too. And the other thing we don't know is what is the jury looking for? Are they looking to determine credibility and consistency in Jane Doe 4's story? Or are they looking for possibly inconsistencies to validate how they feel one way or the other about Jane Doe 4?
BC, you know I love your inside baseball perspective on this stuff because you just brought up a litany of excellent points. Do you think, though, because the jury has asked also for Nicole Edwards, who was the witness that testified that Jane Doe number 4, went to her and told her what happened at the same time? I'm just trying to, catch up the viewers. And part of this, as you know, Brian, falls under something called the fresh complaint rule or outcry rule. And the law basically says, hey, you're allowed to tell someone, and that person that you tell in the immediacy of the act, that evidence comes into court. So, again, do you think there's some indication of what they're looking for? Because not only are they asking for Jane Doe number 4, but they're also asking for Nicole Edwards.
Yeah, that's a great question, Seema. I believe that because they're asking for Nicole Edwards as well, the jury wants to refresh their memory on what exactly Jane Doe 4 said to Nicole Edwards to determine what exactly went down, for example, or whether what she said to Nicole Edwards is consistent with what she said later on. So to me, asking for both the jury, either a juror or the entire jury, is measuring the credibility of Jane Doe 4 in what she told Nicole Edwards, and also whether there's something there in what she told her that is believable that this alleged rape did happen.
Okay, let's actually listen to a bit of sound from Nicole Edwards when she came to court and testified at trial.
When she asked you if you remembered what happened to her, do you remember how you responded?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said, yes, I do remember.
What were you referring to when you told her, yes, I do remember?
That she was taken advantage of, pretty much. She said she was raped at that time.
When you're saying that she said she had been taken advantage of or raped, are you referring to back in June of 2003?
Yes.
BC, do you think it's possible? Now, I know you said maybe they're going methodically, Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, which I agree with, but could it be possible that they're looking at this in a chronological order, that perhaps they started with Jane Doe number 4 because this incident allegedly occurred in 2003?
I don't think that's what's happening. And by the way, playing back that clip was great for your viewers, because that tells me that the jury might be looking for, you know, what exactly did Jane Doe 4 say to Nicole Edwards? And you just heard it. She said, I was raped. I was taken advantage of. That's what the jury wants to hear. Why? Because that's much closer in time. That disclosure by Jane Doe 4 to Nicole Edwards is much closer in time than what the jury's hearing today, isn't it? Many, many years. But getting back to your question, I mean, I feel like, and I said this from day one when I first met you, on the first day, on the last day of jury selection, that I thought Jane Doe 1 and 2 were the weaker cases for the prosecution, and I thought the best chance for a verdict, for a guilty verdict against Kellen Winslow II was on Jane Doe number 4. So I think it's easier for the jury on Jane Doe 1 and 2. 3, you could toss a coin. But I think Jane Doe 4 is the problematic one for Kellen Winslow II, and I think that they've already resolved 1 through 3.
Okay, to the best dressed lawyer in San Diego, I'm going to get back to you. We got to take a quick break. Now, we are on a verdict watch, folks. So any moment now, we are waiting for the jury to reconvene. Now, they got back from lunch about 45 minutes ago, maybe a little longer. They actually took an early lunch. They usually take lunch from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, but they got back early. They went right back to work, and we're just waiting for this readback. And that's when everybody reconvenes. We'll see Kellen Winslow II there, and the lawyers, the prosecutor, as well as the judge, of course, and then there'll be a court reporter. That's how the readback is delivered in these situations. The court reporter takes the testimony, takes the transcript, and reads question, answer, and goes through the entire transcript of this testimony. Now, Jane Doe number 4, she testified for 2 hours, I believe 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think it was over that. And then Nicole Edwards testified for approximately 22 minutes. So we are looking for that. And a reminder that Jane Doe number 4 was incredibly expressive and emotional and quite detailed when she testified. This, of course, being delivered by the stenographer or court reporter, will be more deliberate and without any emotion. And that's certainly what this court reporter is told to do. So now, while we wait anxiously for everyone to return to court, let's bring in Brian Claypool, who's been watching along from the jump of this trial. Brian, so talking about Nicole Edwards, this is someone that you and I were just contemplating why the jury is asking to hear from her, as opposed to, you know, they didn't ask for all of the witnesses that supported Jane Doe number 4. So maybe they are questioning the fresh complaint made from Jane Doe number 4 to Nicole Edwards. Maybe they're questioning the relationship. Maybe they're questioning the timing of this all. Because as we know, Jane Doe number 4's accusation stems from an alleged incident that occurred in June of 2003. So while we were contemplating what Nicole Edwards was referring to, let's remind our viewers by listening to a piece of sound from Nicole Edwards when she was talking about Jane Doe number 4 and what she said with respect to Kellen Winslow being too big to fight off.
When she was talking to you about what happened, do you remember what it was that she said?
She was saying that she was trying to say no, or she was saying no, but he wouldn't get off of her and that he was too big for her to fight back.
Did she tell you that he wouldn't listen when she told him no?
I don't remember her specific words, but I remember her saying that she was telling him no.
Okay, so we just got word that we are expecting the readback in less than 8 minutes, and that's when everyone will be back inside the court. Brian, thank you for being so patient with us. So, Nicole Edwards, now there was this earlier incident before the alleged sexual assault involving Jane Doe number 4, where Jane Doe number 4 said she had consensual sex with Nicole Edwards. And the defense seemed to be trying to bring out that Nicole Edwards knew only about the consensual sex and didn't know anything about an alleged sexual assault. But that clip that we just listened to sounds like that Nicole Edwards can corroborate Jane Doe 4's claim.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Seema. And having heard that clip again, I think that illustrates to your viewers that what the jury is looking for is a specific disclosure by Jane Doe 4 that she did not consent to this alleged sex act. And that clip you just played is powerful. The jury is going to hear that again. I mean, Nicole Edwards said that Jane Doe 4 said to her, "I said no, stop, and he's too big for me to push off." Now, no other witnesses who she disclosed that to can talk about this specific detail on the consent issue. And that's pretty persuasive evidence if the jury believes Nicole Edwards that Jane Doe 4 did not consent to that sexual act.
Do you think the defense attorneys were hoping that the jury would also ask for testimony or readback from Sergeant Emig, and that's the witness that they called, who's the law enforcement officer that took a report from Jane Doe number 4, and Jane Doe number 4 told him, and this was all in 2018 when she came forward, that it was Kellen Winslow that picked her up, that Kellen Winslow gave her a drink, and that when she woke up at a house, several males were groping her. She was digitally penetrated. They all left, and that's when the defendant had sex with her, which are all these inconsistent statements with what she said when called by the prosecution.
Seema, you're doing a phenomenal job in covering this case, and so is Court TV. Another fantastic question, because you just helped illustrate to the audience what we think the jury is now looking for. If the jury was really looking to line up all of these inconsistencies, the alleged inconsistencies that Jane Doe 4 made. Remember, that's what Mr. Carlos was saying. Oh, she can't get her story right. She said this to one person, said it was in a car to another person. That doesn't appear to be what the jury is looking for, or else, like you said, the jury would have asked for all of the witnesses who she disclosed the alleged sexual assault to. They are honing in on Nicole Edwards because they want to hear the specific disclosure by Jane Doe 4 about her allegedly not consenting, that she's saying no, and I'm telling you, it's powerful for the prosecution.
Brian Claypool, thank you so much for your insight, expertise, and the kind words that you have for all of us here at Court TV.